Hello everyone, welcome to the second live session of this NPTEL massive open online course on science, technology and society. As you know, we have already completed 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, or maybe more than, no, I think more than that, 4 or 5 weeks we have completed. And we are going to complete another 5-6 weeks. I mean, this is a 12-week course spanning over 30 hours. What we have done, we have started with thematic preliminaries of each concept, namely science, technology and society. As if you slightly recall, we started with this, that philosophy in the pre-19th century was divided into two parts. One, natural philosophy, and the other, moral philosophy. Natural philosophy is nothing but science in the present sense of the term. As you all know, the term science was coined by William Whewell in the 19th century. Prior to that, it was known as natural philosophy. And moral philosophy is nothing but ethics today. Natural philosophers or scientists in the present sense of the term are engaged in epistemological questions, whereas moral philosophers are engaged in ethical questions. Okay, and what is epistemology? If one has to deal with epistemology, is nothing but a body or theory of knowledge, precisely because of the central philosophical questions that epistemology addresses. These central philosophical questions include what is knowledge, what counts as knowledge, how is knowledge produced, and so on. And for this reason, epistemology is known as a body or theory of knowledge. And ethics is the study of nature of conduct, precisely because of the central philosophical questions that ethics addresses. What is good? What is bad? What is right? What is wrong? I mean, the kind of questions that the proponents of natural philosophy addressed, what is knowledge? How is knowledge produced? If I say the knowledge that we have produced, whether it is evenly distributed in our economy, culture and polity or not, it becomes a serious ethical question. Okay, whether everybody has access to the variety of forms of knowledge that we have produced over a period of time. That's why questions of inclusion, questions of equity, questions of accessibility, questions of democracy, they all became or they all come under the purview of ethics, moral philosophy. And when my job is not to say that no, epistemology is more important than ethics, or ethics is more important than epistemology. My job here is to look at how to integrate epistemology with ethics, or in other words, how to integrate natural philosophy with moral philosophy. When I tend to integrate natural philosophy with moral philosophy, or in other words, when I tend to integrate science with ethics, or epistemology with ethics, then I tend to arrive at modern philosophy of science. Science, when I say modern philosophy of science, I mean science, maybe an inquiry, maybe a method, maybe an institution, maybe an ideology, and so on. I mean, when I say science is an inquiry into the limits and science is an inquiry into the nature and limits of a particular knowledge. When I say limits, by limits, I do not mean limitations. By limits, I mean under what limiting conditions science is practiced or pursued. In this sense, I tend to challenge the universality, neutrality, objectivity, which has or atemporality, which have been attributed to the notion of science. Science is relative. two methods. And in methods of science, we have discussed this, the famous Aristotelian question, what is the method of science, elicited two important answers, two rival answers, which also became rival methods. One is inductivism and the other hypothesism. Inductivism is based on empiricism, empiricism is based on experience, and on the contrary, hypothesism is based on rationalism, and rationalism is based on reason. And we have discussed them. Then we have discussed positivistic control of science, how positivists argued that science is distinct from all areas of human activity or creativity because it possesses a method unique to it. That there is a single method common to all sciences, irrespective of their subject matter. That is methodological monism. We have also discussed how positivists argued that the method of science is the method of induction. That how the hallmark of science lies in the fact that all scientific statements are systematically verifiable. Positivists also argued that there is a unilinear relationship between observation and theory. Putting it succinctly, positivists said that observation leads to theory, but the converse is not. In other words, theory is observation dependent, whereas observation is theory independent. We have also discussed how positivists tried to make a demarcation between fact and value, dichotomy between fact and value. If I say this is a table, this is a fact. If I say this table looks beautiful, then I add value to it. And science believes in facts. According to positivists, science doesn't believe in values. Facts are value neutral, and values do not have any factual content. According to positivists, not according to all. Such positivistic control of science was systematically attacked by Popper, Karl Popper. We have discussed this in the context of systematic falsification. Popper started with a question. What is the central question of philosophy? The central question of philosophy is the problem of cosmology. Now, what is the problem of cosmology? Now, the problem of cosmology is understanding the world as part of the world, because if we cannot understand, if we isolate ourselves from the phenomena that we want to study, then we will not be able to examine. That's why understanding the world, including ourselves as part of the world, that is the problem of cosmology. That's why he starts with context of discovery, context of justification. I mean, more importantly, context of I mean, the starting point of science, according to Popper, is always how to identify a research problem. Once you identify a research problem, then you tend to provide a tentative solution to a problem or hunch, which is known as a hypothesis. And once you test your hypothesis, it may be tested right, it may be tested wrong. If it is tested wrong, then it is subject to refutation. And if it is tested right, it is subject to corroboration. That's why in research, we always say that hypothesis should not be proved or disproved. If you are diehard in proving or disproving your hypothesis, then it hinders the tradition of cumulative knowledge production. You have to test your hypothesis. Your hypothesis may be tested right or wrong. But Popper said that if your hypothesis is tested wrong, then it must be refuted. And if it is tested right, then it must be corroborated, not accepted. It must be corroborated. You must keep your hypothesis permanently tentative. And then we have discussed Kuhn's reflections on the methods of science. when Thomas Kuhn, in the structure of scientific revolutions, what he said, that every major science passes through two stages. One is pre-paradigmatic stage and the other paradigmatic stage. A paradigm is nothing but a model. That a paradigm is the one which formulates model questions and also devise certain model strategies to approach those model questions, and it also provides model solutions to those model questions. Okay. It is the framework of a disciplinary matrix. I mean, it's the professional matrix for a particular for a specific discipline. Okay. And in this case, he said that no, astronomy was the first discipline to enter the paradigmatic stage. I mean, he looked at Ptolemy and Copernicus, I mean, basically Copernicus, and then Galileo and so on. And then physics in the case of Newton, and then biology in the case of Darwin and so on. How these disciplines, they force some kind of a paradigm. They build some kind of a model. Okay. And within a specific paradigm, you tend to be engaged in normal science, norm-bound science. It is a puzzle-solving activity. It is a tradition-bound activity. Normal science is operational through set rules and regulations. Okay. And while pursuing normal science with set rules and regulations, you tend to encounter anomalies. Anomalies are nothing but unexpected or unanticipated occurrences or happenings. And once you enter, I mean, science encounters anomalies. And if it doesn't have solutions to those anomalies, then science enters the stage of crisis. And once it is crisis ridden, then it hunts for newer paradigms. And that newer paradigm will be arrived at only by a revolutionary science. That's why if normal science is a tradition-bound activity, then revolutionary science is a tradition-shattering activity. Okay. In this sense, what Kuhn suggested, that the way astronomy, physics, biology, they entered the stage of paradigm, they entered the paradigmatic stage. Perhaps humanities and social sciences, creative art, literature, philosophy, they cannot enter the paradigmatic stage, precisely because this paradigm is also forced by some kind of a consensus. And in humanities and social sciences, it is not simply possible to build a consensus, it is equally not desirable to build a consensus. Okay. And then we have discussed Paul Feyerabend, how he tried to build his arguments against method. He said that all the hitherto existing methods of science are based on certain consistency and correspondence conditions. Consistency conditions refers to the fact that the new theory must be consistent with the hitherto existing facts, and the correspondence condition suggests that the new theory must be correspond to the hitherto existing theories. In this sense, can we have, how are we going to build new science? How are we going to build revolutionary science if we keep on following these consistency and correspondence conditions? That's why he was trying to present to us anarchistic methods of science. Okay, we have this. The objective of this exercise, I mean, the objective of discussing methods of science was to hammer the point that there is no specific method, or there is no, you just cannot say that the method of science is uniform, the method, there is a single method of science. There must be a plurality. I mean, there must be multiple methods of science. Okay, it is the objective that determines what kind of methods that I'm going to deploy. And then we have discussed ethos of science. I mean, Mertonian ethos of science. I mean, ethos of science are, I mean, it is effectively toned complex of values and norms held to be binding on the practitioner of science. These ethos of science are expressed in terms of prescriptions, proscriptions, preferences, and permissions. Sorry. They are also known as institutional imperatives of science. And Merton developed kudos, popularly known as kudos, communism, universalism, disinterestedness, and organized skepticism. Communism suggests that there is no private ownership over scientific inventions and so on. It must be used for public purpose only. Okay, the ownership cannot be claimed, should not be claimed. This is an ethos of science, and which is getting challenged in the context of IPR today, intellectual property rights of, because we is WTO provisions on IPR, okay, World Trade Organization. Then the second one, universalism. If you look at universalism, suggests that the acceptance or rejection of any scientific claim should not depend on the personal or social background of the individual offering that claim. Disinterestedness suggests that science should be devoid of any personal interests or ideologies. Personal agenda should not be a part of pursuing science. And disinterestedness, which is known as a methodological mandate of the ethos of science, suggests that we must temporarily suspend our judgment, or we must postpone our judgment unless and until all facts are at hand. Okay, and then we are going to discuss the social shaping of technology in terms of how technology is not neutral, do artifacts of politics. Then how technology, what we are going to discuss in the weeks to follow, how technology may be neutral, may not be neutral, whether if somebody says that technology is neutral or not neutral. I think the neutrality of a technology is based on the ways in which it is designed and controlled. That's why design and control are the two bases to examine neutrality of technology. Through gender, through class relations, we are going to discuss technology. And then, I mean, Donald McKenzie, Yodi Walkman, and Uebei Biker, and all, they will be discussed, and then we'll end with the Scientific Policy Resolution of 1958, Technology Policy Statement of 1983, Science and Technology Policy of 2003, and Science, Technology and Innovation Policy of 2013, and then subsequently 2000, the new Science, Technology and Innovation Policy. If time permits, we'll discuss this 2019-20. If there is any question, then I would be happy to address, or else you can write to us. Our team will get back to you with answers. Obviously, they will contact me before writing back. I'm sure all of you are quite serious about attending the lectures. You are serious about weekly assignments. Please don't skip any assignment. Then if you skip, then you will lose mark later on, because 25% weightage is there in for weekly assignments and 75% for ends final examination. I hope all of you will register for this, for the final examination, and then and please don't skip any weekly assignment, so that there will be no problem for you. I'm sure all of you are very bright students, and all of you will do well in the examinations. If there is any question, please post them now, or else you can write to us. We'll get back with answers. Quick. Yeah. Now there is a question that what are the articles that you mentioned? If you look at the website, somebody John Bell, that if you look at the website, all the texts and references are mentioned there. Please look at it. Should I write here, or? Please look at the website. It's there in the course outline itself. All the texts and references are mentioned. नहीं और नहीं चाहिए. और कुछ क्वेश्चंस है क्या? Okay, if there is no question, then I'll leave here, and please get back to us if you have any question. Anyway, there will be another live session, maybe in the last week of September or first week of October. You can still pose questions there. Okay, please do well in the course and also in life. Don't skip any exam. If you have any problem, how to register a new science. I mean, I didn't mention how to register. I mean, how to arrive at a new method of science, how to arrive at a new paradigm in science. In this sense, new model. For example, earlier notion was that the Earth remains constant and the sun rotates, moves around the orbit of the Earth and also other planets. I mean, Ptolemaic view. But Copernicus challenged that, and Galileo justified that later on. Then the paradigm, the model of science changed. That Copernican revolution, if you look at Darwinian revolution in biological sciences, Newtonian revolution, and later on Einsteinian revolutions in physical sciences. In this sense. Okay, if you have any we'll definitely get back to you, and we'll again have another round of live session, maybe in the last week of September or first week of October. You can also post them at that time, and please take care of your examinations as well, so that there will be no problem. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.